Hello and welcome to the Comprehensive Tarot course on Udemy. This is the first lecture in this course, and in this video we'll be talking about three things. Firstly, we'll talk about ethics and why ethics are important to me and why they should be important to you too. Two, we'll decide how to choose a really great tarot deck because you're going to need one for this course. And three, some study tips to help you learn the tarot cards easily. So first of all, the ethics thing. Nowadays, it's taken for granted that Big Brother is watching us all. Some people have proxy servers and some people take their privacy very seriously with firewalls and online security, because who knows who may be prying into your business and what their agenda could be. So with the tarot, it's the same thing. We can basically get any information on anybody or anything in time and space. Right? So you can get information on the past, the present and the future, and that means you can technically spy on other people's lives. So imagine that someone had paid a tarot card reader or was learning to read the tarot themselves and was checking up on you and your career, your feelings, your emotions, who you're dating. Imagine how creepy that would be, how little privacy you would have. So that's why we don't spy on other people with the tarot. In all areas of the metaphysical world, people strongly believe in karma and how what you put out there, you'll get back. So if you put out this dirty, stalkerish energy, that's the energy that you're going to be attracting towards yourself. So just don't do it. Next, let's discuss buying a tarot deck, which is exciting. Okay, so I suggest that you go on a website called Eclectic. And that's because they have a lot of tarot decks on there, and you'll be able to see them and see like example sample cards. So in this course, you can just use any tarot deck that you like. And I suggest you use a Waite-Smith style deck, or sometimes called a Waite-Smith clone deck. And that's because it's easier to remember the image meanings. So when I learned the tarot, I used Cat Black's Golden Tarot, and even after hundreds and hundreds of readings, it's still in tip-top condition. It's a great deck. Also, there's no need to only buy one deck. If you have 2 or 3 decks, at least, that's really fine. And remember, the artist probably spent 5 or 10 years making that deck. So you're giving money to an artist, and that's definitely a good thing. So usually I buy my decks online in a big online book store, but I recommend, if you have an esoteric shop nearby, going and seeing the cards physically. How big are they, how thick are they, how do they feel to you. So then finally, let's come to talk about some study tips. So in my day job, I'm a mild-mannered ESL teacher, and that means I teach English as a second language. And when I studied teacher training, we learned that there are 3 main ways that people learn. Number 1, with their eyes. Number 2, with their ears. And number 3, with their whole body. So visually, people learn with their eyes. They can remember things easily if it's presented in a diagram or in a graph. So this kind of person enjoys looking at maps or beautiful graphics. This kind of person likes to look good and feels uncomfortable in a messy environment. So auditory people are people who learn with hearing. So they like to listen and repeat, listen and repeat. They like to listen to podcasts and radio shows, and they can be very chatty. This kind of person can watch a film or a TV program only once and then quote whole conversations, remembering intonation and voice pitches and everything. It's kind of miraculous. So the third style of learning is kinesthetic. So young children and very active, sporty people learn with their whole bodies. They love to physically organize their environment, and for example, in a learning situation, they might get a handout, cut out the vital information, stick it in a book, highlight it. They're very they like to use their bodies when they're learning. This kind of child would learn using a sandbox or making letter shapes or something like that. So maybe if you're this kind of person, you could put the lecture on in your headphones and go for a run, or else you can act out a scenario or try and experience, the learning targets in a physical way. So of course, no one is uniquely one kind of learner. We're all 3 types to a greater or lesser extent. And so now what I want you to do is I want you to think about how you learn. What helps you to learn? What are you, a visual person? Are you a kinesthetic person? Are you an auditory person? And then when you're learning the tarot, look at each card, say the words, say the meanings of the cards out loud, walk around the room, try and act out this kind of scenario, and then it will make it a whole lot easier for you to learn. Another thing is, I want you to remember a time when you learned a new skill. For example, you learned a new sport, or you learned to drive, or, you know, if you can think back that far, you know, when you learned to read and write. Remember how you had to go over the same actions again and again and again to really make it, you know, like you learned the spelling of the words, you had to write them down lots and lots of times. And it's going to be the same with learning the tarot. So learn the meanings of the cards, of course, and then go back every day, go back to the day before, like, oh, I learned these 3 cards over this week. So just learn them, get ready to learn them many, many times. Don't think you're a failure because it's taking you a long time to remember the meaning of the cards. That's not true, right? But, you know, of course, if you're a person who just looks at a thing, remembers it, then you're a learning genius. More power to you. That's really fantastic. So we're at the end of our first lecture. And so just to recap, we talked about ethics and why ethics are important to us as tarot card readers. And we learned about how to buy a tarot deck and why it's not necessary to have just one deck. And we learned different ways to learn and different styles of learning, and how you can use your best learning style to learn the tarot quickly and easily. Okay, so that's the end of lecture 1. And I hope you've benefited from it, and I hope you have a really great day. See you soon. Bye-bye.